Greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast. I'm your host, AlonzoBash, and of course, welcome 2026, brand new year. And I must say, man, I want to say many thanks for all the new subscribers or the new followers, and of course, today we have a what should I say, a living legend. You know, the young man like me. I'm not sure if I should give him the living legend title as of yet, but I look at him as the Larry King of our times. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
So today I'm doing something different also. Today, usually I'll have my little notes. I took no notes. I did some research on the brother. But today, just like a casual conversation with a virgin that's really doing really great works in the Caribbean space, man. And ladies and gentlemen, don't want to waste no time. Mr. Corie Sheppard, welcome.
That's good, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. A pleasure to be here. And happy
Yeah,
New
man.
Year to you and all your followers as well.
Yeah, man. Give thanks, man. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I was saying back home, when New Year's catch you?
That's a good question. In my bed, I barely was awake, to be honest with you, boy. I struggled
Wow.
this New Year. Usually as a man like my little parang, and I was looking for a parang, and then
Yeah.
next thing I hear fireworks.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Fireworks wake me up.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, you mentioned Parang. So before I
Mhm.
get deep into the story, I understand. Let me understand it. So you play Parang as well. You play what, the Quattro?
Yeah, I play Quattro. So
Okay.
when I
Okay.
was my family, my father's a real kind of parent family. My father plays guitar, my grandfather play guitar and quattro, I have uncles who play quattro. So I grew up in a time where he lived in Laventry Road. So when I go by him for Christmas,
Yeah.
it's a normal thing to see them leave like Christmas Eve night and not see them again till Christmas night or Boxing morning when they come back to Parang by my
Wow. I
grandparents,
remember Parang.
where he was living. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah. It
Parang.
was real McCoy, real McCoy. It was nice. Nice times, different times, right?
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
All
man.
right. Cool.
Yeah,
All
so
right. So
through
let's
that
get
I
into it.
start playing and everything. I just follow them. I see what they do and I sing what song like what they singing. So I know I'm no Alicia Dragons or nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So you could play and sing.
Yeah. My grandfather always used to say that, He say you can't play unless you can play and sing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Nice.
believe that now, but yeah, it's a thing because when you think about it, you from Caribbean people. When we go to when you host somebody, you entertain any person. So the
Right.
more you could entertain, play, sing, tell jokes, dance, whatever you could do, it make the
Yeah.
lime a little sweeter. With Caribbean
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. That's true. Wow. All right. So let's get into your backstory, man. So you were born and raised in Belmont,
No, St. James.
St. James area. Okay.
Yes, St. James. St. James boy.
Okay. Well, I spent some time in St. James, as a youth, man. I was in cadets. I stayed at the barracks there by the police barracks.
Of course,
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
home. All the places is home to me.
yeah, man. My old stomping grounds, man.
For real.
Yeah.
What part of Trinidad you from, so?
I'm from Arima.
I remember, man.
Yeah,
Got it.
Arima, man. Born and raised, man.
Who knew who? I supposed to be seeing you because me seeing you. This how this work, guys. Right?
You didn't see me?
Yeah, you off screen. That's how
Oh,
remote thing on.
no. That's
I just said, let me ask you next time you record too far and you realize your partner getting recorded. I don't know how this is work.
no. I can see you, which is
Okay.
most important. Which is most
Okay,
important.
good. Well, not necessary. I'm just making sure you're good.
Yeah. That's probably on your side. Put the camera on or
Yeah,
whatnot.
maybe.
All right. So what was it like growing up in St. James as a youth, man? Because that's the heart of the ancestor.
That's it. Yeah. That's exactly what it was like, to be honest with you. Nothing do happen in this country without St. James being involved or affected as far as I'm concerned. So,
Yeah.
boy, St. James is, I always use St. James as a kind of parallel to what Trinidad and Tobago need to get back to, you know what I mean? It's just a place where all of us grew up as friends. It really didn't matter
Yeah.
who could have played which sport, whatever sport you had to play that. If basketball playing, you had to play basketball. Football, you
Yeah.
play football, you play cricket. It's just there was a togetherness in the community. When Christmas time, Christmas, a big thing was you get a bike.
Yeah, man.
Well, when a man get a bike or two men get a bike, everybody have a bike. You know what I mean? We just riding and going all over the place. So when you say the barracks and them places is home to me. We used to like if you know St. Mary's Grounds, we used to go there, climb down in the river, pass through between behind Harvard's and between the barracks and Harvard's. There we running all through the river going there. So St. James is a
Wow.
beautiful place, boy. It had no boundaries in terms of your skill level, your academic level, your race, your religion. We was every religion it had. We was that. Ask anybody from St. James.
Yep.
They beat
Yep.
drum for who say we clean out Mandir when it comes to Diwali or any festival that I have. We was in Baptist yard. We just live
Yeah.
another good time. The Anglican church was around the corner, the Catholic church was around the corner. Just
Yeah.
I think it's a reflection of what Trinidad should or could be or really is, you know?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a very, very good point. All right, so let's
Yeah,
talk about
this is what I think.
your
Mhm.
family structure. Let's talk about your mom and your dad. What your mom and dad still with us?
Yeah. My mom is still in St. James. Since St. James, so I'm
Yeah.
still connected there. She's home there.
Yeah.
She's a avid listener and follower of the podcast. But I grew up and lived with my mom in St. James most of my life, you know. Most of my
Yeah.
life. Until I went off on my own as an adult, I lived with my mom. So
Okay.
she has
Okay.
been she a culture lover too, in and around the culture and that kind of thing. So that's St. James upbringing. She leave me to explore and live and absorb what St. James had to offer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my dad grew up in Laventry Road in Febo Village in Sawa.
Okay. Okay.
And
Sawa.
so I'll be Sawa. Real McCoy. And I
Yeah,
hear
man.
people talk about Sawa now, but I don't know if they know Febo Village. And like Blaze is the only one who has here talk about Febo Village on the radio. Febo Village is
Yeah.
a unique place to one. When you go in Febo Village, you're inside. You had to come back out. It's one way in, one way out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have an
Yeah,
aunt
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I had an aunt rather used to live in Sawa, and I remember going to Sawa as a youth with my grandmother.
Right.
But it's been so much years. I don't, I really can't remember Sour to that point. I just know the main areas, but Sour is a big place.
Sawa is a big place, man. Plenty culture, plenty history and plenty culture coming out of Sawa too. So they
Yeah,
live up in the hills in Febo Village there. So the next side of the hill is really like Santa Cruz, Lacano kind of area. Is right on
yeah,
the next side. So
yeah,
they grew up there and that was they never I'm not there often now, like I in St. James all the time, but I don't go up there often now because my grandparents would have passed on
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's not as much connections to Laventry Road. That's like my uncle there, beat him in some roomie every time every chance I get. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's 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 the family there. There's three brothers and two sisters, so it's five of us in all.
Nice, 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 nice. All right. So let's talk about the schooling, man. But before I get into the schooling, so like I say, back
Sure.
to St. James, because like I said, I was not stumbling ground as a teenager, and I
Right.
know I did still, I did some research. Of course, I'm a fan of the podcast. I went back to some of your early works, and we're gonna get into
Appreciate
all of
that.
that.
hmm
But when I mean you grew up in the thing, man, you actually where you grew up is that part of the parade route to the Savannah too?
Yeah. Two places because where I grew up was Smokey and Bunty.
Yeah, man. Mm,
Right, I grew up on that block. So
yeah,
right off the main road, we grew up on right behind there. So I know Smokey. I know these guys who had Smokey and Bunty. You know what I mean? That was people from around. You just see them around all the time. And
yeah,
then there was
yeah,
a bar called the College on the main road. The college was owned by people right there. So
yeah.
it's the roots. The route
The
is
roots.
like when you leave like Roxy there and you're coming down St. James Main Road.
Yeah,
You had a pass by the block with Smokey and Bunty there, and the
yeah,
whole of St.
yeah,
James is a special experience for mass for me as an adult, as a masquerade. I love passing through St. James. But
yeah.
you see that block where Smokey and Bunty and the college and Universal Pub and them places was, and
Yeah, man.
52. That was a different energy and action because you will remember Crosby's, right?
Yeah, man. Crosby's record shop.
Yeah, and you remember Crosby during Carnival, because Crosby
Hmm.
Record Shop is on that same block, obliquely opposite Smokey and Bunty.
Yeah, yeah,
And they used to have their carnival kick off in the road, you know what I mean? It was they
yeah,
had a stage in front of Crosby's, and you'd see all the big artists. You'll see Super and Ronnie and I One them at the time. You had to
yeah.
pass through Crosby's. Before they had moved it to King George eventually, but
Hmm.
as a child, I not allowed in them spaces. I too young, way too young. But you can't separate we because once your parents want to go and you get a little freedom, we run out
Right.
the road barefoot and thing, and we just peep
You're
what we
right
could
there.
peep. Yeah, we
Wow.
ride it. So we really, and then when my mom where we moved to another part in St. James, and when the bands reach all the way to the end of the main road, but when they want to turn back to go Mokorapa Road,
Right.
they pass down my mother's street, so it's a very difficult thing for me when I'm not playing mass. I don't like to come out the house because then I see
Right.
people like you in costume coming down the road. I was like, Corey, what are you doing home? Let me go on. I was like, ah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like to be around St. James when it if I'm not playing mass, I don't like to be by my mother at all. I can't take it.
Wow.
This is you can't take
Yeah.
it. You can't escape it, you know.
That makes some sense to me because, like I said, I've listened to your works and this and you talk, and I'm like, man, this man the real thing, boy. This man, this man been
I was
around.
fast, you know. They were fast, you know, fastness. When you're listening when adults talking too much, you know.
Yeah. Like, man, this man the real thing, boy. This man the real thing. But it makes sense. It makes sense because you grew up in it. It's part of you. It's part of who you are. As they would say, it's in your DNA. You know?
That's the best way to put it because it's that education I was getting when I didn't know I was learning nothing. I was really just taking chances, and my mother wasn't letting me go. Or I was the main grow up on the block and saying my mother protect me. She keep me inside,
Yeah.
but don't go to work and don't go. I coming out any chance I get, and even if you're inside, you know, St. James, you can't escape the music. It's just play on all the trucks. Any
Yeah,
fighters
man.
have any overlays, hear it from St. James. So anybody
Hmm.
who grew up in St. James, you could be religious, you could be what? That they have that same DNA that I have. You know, you talk to anybody from St. James, you will hear some of the same things. You know?
Yeah. Man, I remember one year we was in camp and on the barracks there, and it just so happened the people we get in there, they had a camp
Mhm.
right in kind of a season. And I remember in the barracks there and PSC, it's right next door.
Yeah.
Pressure. Uh,
Pressure, pressure. You know, you can't escape that sound. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking. Where I live, you used to hear brass from home. The days when I might be teenage, 15, 16, 17, when maybe some of the boys' parents let them go free, and my mother, I can't go nowhere. I'm
yeah,
begging my mother to go brass festival, boy, and she's like, "Boy, you must be crazy." Thank God she didn't let me go.
yeah,
But our home is sour because you're hearing Tony Prescott and them singing from up there. It's like, oh man, or Alison Hines and them. You're just hearing it home. It's
yeah,
sickening. I know exactly how you're feeling. It's sickening. You can't leave camp.
yeah. Cali camp, but they're right there now, like that brass blowing in the head.
Saying that like you're home. Them days too, thing going till 6, 7 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's not like no way locking off early too.
Yeah, yeah.
So even if you
Man,
sleep and wake up, you're still in the fat but at home, you know, it's rough, rough.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk about your schooling, man. So what
Mhm.
primary school you went to and secondary school?
Primary school, Newtown Boys.
Okay, okay.
So that's right, Marval Road there, and then secondary school out in Fatima. Well, I went to secondary schools now in Fatima.
Yeah.
Um, Failed miserably and give as much trouble as I could have possibly give, and
Uh,
never do too good in Fatima. Yeah.
that's my boy school,
Boy, I don't know. I don't know. I take that route. I could tell you that. I wasn't trying to listen to nobody them days. So I
Yeah.
repeat in Fatima, I repeat CXC in Fatima, and
Okay,
then
okay.
still in getting to A levels. So I went tranquil and do A levels.
Yeah. Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
so that's schooling. The Newton is another hobby, you know. You learn so much, you know. I mean, you see so much.
So much. Yeah, yeah. All right. So after schooling, what you did after that? After Fatima? Well, after you
Um,
graduated with the A's and so
almost,
forth.
almost, yeah. Oh, sorry. Uh, After Fatima, I worked for a little bit. I had to repeat A levels too. So I
Okay.
worked for a little bit to repeat the subjects because I wanted to go UE. I kind of knew since maybe by the time I was going tranquil, I was getting a little more serious about the studies and the academics and thing. And I mean, I wasn't on no 20% list, right? I had no family who get me into Fatima. So I know the work it takes to pass for Fatima is hard, you know?
Yeah,
So I
man.
had anybody who passed for them schools, you're kind of academically inclined, but when you go Fatima and everybody bright, you realize that it might mean nothing too special, you know what I mean? So yes, I learned the lesson that you had to put in the work. You can't go straight. So by tranquil, I was kind of determined to go. I didn't have the grades to get. Actually, when I first applied for UE,
Mm,
I want to tell you I had a A and a B or something, and I failed the next two subjects in A levels. But when I
okay.
applied for UE, I got accepted to do carnival studies coincidentally, but I wanted to
Okay.
do business.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So I didn't go. I didn't go for the carnival studies. I repeat, and I get accepted to do
Yeah.
government. Government,
Mm,
you know, to do intro to politics and them things. And then I switched and I did undergrad in UE uh, what did I do? Business management.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so kind of like after repeating all, so I would be a little bit older going into year one in UE compared to people who just come out of school, which I feel
Yeah.
helped me, a little more mature.
Yeah, a more mature. Okay. Okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
was
So
ready for it before that.
yeah. So what you did after UE?
But I went back to UE, I'd applied to do my master's at the time, to do my
Okay.
MBA.
Mm.
And surprisingly, I got accepted. So I went straight back into my master's from then. And
Wow.
I
Nice.
always used to kind of work. I used to work all the time. Since I
Yeah.
was 16, 17. The first day I get paid for doing something, I never stopped doing that. I
Man, what was the first job? What was the first gig?
boy, a lady named Miss Judy had a shop in St. James.
Okay.
Miss Judy actually is Steve Seeley's wife, if you remember Steve
Wow.
Seeley.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, she had a little shop on the corner in St. James, and I used to go and try and sell and help out in the shop as much as I could. And one
Okay.
day she couldn't make it, and she told me, like, how long the shop? I was like, cool. And she gave me $10 at the end of the day. I'll never forget her. I was like,
Yeah.
you paying me for doing this? I don't do it for
Right.
free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
since then, I might have been 14, some young age, and I like work since then. So even while I was repeating and studying in UE and stuff, like I would once my last exam done, my mom was working at TSTT at the time.
Yeah, man.
And my father too might be working there at the time too. I don't think he was working there, but he passed through TSTT as well. And then
Yeah.
a grandfather was part of Telephone Workers Credit Union. So at that point, I gained any little job. TSTT used to have a summer program,
Okay.
a little 2 months work. So I used to go and work for the summer program and them thing. And I think you could have do it. There's a finite amount of times you could do it. So I did it maybe 2 or 3 times. And by the time I was getting a real job, I was working part-time or filling in on. So my 3 years in UE, every September when school's supposed to start back, I
Uh,
used to start back late because me want to Lego the work, I don't want to leave the work to go this September. I might delay it and go back kind of October kind of time, like a brethren sign me into some classes and things.
uh,
So yeah, right. By the time I do my master, and maybe that's why I get into my master's, because a big part of it wasn't just the grades, it was your work experience. Because
yeah.
it's an MBA, it's not a theory program.
Okay. Okay.
So with the work experience, I might have gotten in and I did the MBA in marketing and well, they call it Lockjack now. When I went was university, what it was again? IOB, Institute of Business.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it used to
Nice.
be IOB before it was Lockjack. And before they moved into that building, then no, it was by Page, the
Yeah.
corner by the highway there. That's where we started up, and then we graduated in the new building.
All right. Nice. 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 All right. So I'm trying to understand. You I don't know if you be kicking a serious thing, but your passion, like I say, you're a person. You're really into the culture. You're part of the culture. Is who you are. Now you're the artist too.
No.
I hear you drop some lyrics. I hear you drop some lyrics, man.
Absolutely not. I'm not. Actually, you're funny you say that. I have a little idea for a song again this year, but I don't want no political problems.
Ah,
I've,
yeah.
one second.
Yeah, help now, no. Yeah, AI.
Boy, no, but my problem is I had to
Mm,
sing it. I had to sing it. I have a little idea for a song. It have a song get caught up in some political thing. They just released this week. And I have a
yeah,
little idea for it, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know if I can take the heat that politics has come with. As you say, I like the culture. I like who we are. The politics is
yeah,
part of the culture too, so I don't run from it. You know what I mean? I talk about it and
yeah,
stuff, but I do feel like the politics is a part of the culture that people could be a little bit finicky and insecure about. So I want to live in a world where when I bad talk the PNM, they don't feel as a UNC. And when I bad talk the UNC, they don't feel as a PNM. I wish we could live in a world like that, but. Every time I
Well,
think about politics, if I've tried to sing a song, I might try to sing two songs. I might try to sing a song supporting both sides for them to still seem as balanced.
well, let's look at a Coco. I mean, Coco
Uh,
used to beat all of them. Black
yeah,
Stallion,
yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Nobody
But
look at
Krokro
him and
beats all of them and still branded as a PNM.
well,
You gonna have a rough 5 years. You have 5 years of famine to face.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, tricky and tricky. But nah, I know artists. But I see artist dread. Artist is a call it. I'm gonna put it like that, right? I look at men you interview and I hear the way they approach music and the way they talk about it and the way they
Mhm.
approach performing and so on. You see that is a world that I love and admire. But
Yeah.
you know, I am a man. Like, is play sports and thing as a small goal sweater. I like my little small
Yeah.
goal. But
Yeah.
me ain't no
Like,
athlete, no. Me ain't no
yeah.
athlete.
Like,
Far from. But I can write a song. I grew up in Calypso competition, new song, and when I went new song, I was in every Calypso competition every year. Doing O'Connor beat me like a snake every year. I couldn't beat him at all. When I went
okay.
Fatima, when the first in Form 1, I went Fatima Calypso competition.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Well,
yeah,
you
so
got
I comfortably enough if I to go on a stage and sing a song. I don't like the forward facing thing, you know what I mean? But
yeah. Well,
I like Kaiser, and
yeah, like
if I have
that.
a good song, I want to sing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You okay? You want to be the one to sing it. I say you can write it and give it to someone else, but you want to be the
Boy, the kind of dog shit I write, and I don't know if I could get that to nobody. So I had to sing that for myself. It's because the thing about it is, I really like writing the
uh,
parody kind of thing.
the parody.
Yeah, like a parody. Like when you have a
Yeah.
song and I could kind of flip it and make it a little funny or make it
Yeah.
interesting. I like that. You know what I mean? To
Like
say, I don't know that I could come up with a song from scratch, and I find
mm,
that it's tough and I don't feel like when I like the idea I have now, I know it could be
yeah.
funny, I know it could work, it could be provocative. So like I'm excited to go and start working on that. If you
Right.
tell
Right.
me write a song for next year carnival and I had to come up with a concept, that
Mm.
feeling like a work, that feeling like a chore to me. I don't know if I could do that, you know?
Well, the thing about it too. I've noticed a lot of times you have writers and you have co-writers because sometimes that writer, just like you mentioned, man, have a concept for a song, but it still needs some help, and then another person come in and say, okay, taking this, add that, you know what I'm saying, and compose the whole thing. So that could be an option.
But that I'm willing to do, to be honest, as I meet more people in this space now and I see what it takes to structure a song.
Yeah.
That I don't mind doing at all. Once I have the help and I have the guidance and stuff, because I think I have a good enough ear. Like when I hear a final product, I could pretty much tell if it could work, if it's not good, you know what I mean? Because I guess I play music for a long time, so I see how people respond to different things.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, that I could explore, you know?
Yeah. For sure. Also, man, I know you're the original feta. you know, you call some
A
fet
hundred
name, and I'm
percent.
like, wait, this
A
man,
100%.
been there, done that. This man.
Proud feta, proud feta. Fetting is the best part of Carnival. The best
Best-
part of Carnival is fet. People can say all kind of different things, but it's the Carnival, for me, Carnival is fet to me. Fet. Up to
Well, let's
now.
talk. Hmm. Let's talk about like you said, you've been there, done that, and you mentioned up to now. I'm sure you have seen the landscape, but fetting itself has changed a lot over the years. And for
Yep.
folks that's listening, 'cause, the listenership is pretty diverse, especially the younger folks. Um, Tell me some of the changes you have seen from talk about PSA days to now. And back then we was really young for PSA, so you talk about we're
Yeah.
talking about like early 2000s probably to
Yeah,
2020.
real late 90s, early 2000s, still PSA was kicking up. And to tell you the
Mm,
truth, I catch a tail end of PSA and think them days PSA was starting to phase out. Spectrum was another one of them locations too. I don't know if you know Spectrum. That was by
man, I respect them. You used to have a lot of
remember
dancehall
Spectrum?
with it. Yeah, man.
Right,
Rice Road, I
right.
think it was.
It was Rice
Oh,
Road, it's right where Movie Town is now. When you're going into Movie Town, that's where Spectrum was.
yeah.
And Carnival City was more town side.
Hmm.
But boy, one of the bigger changes, one of the biggest changes for me is you see live bands.
Yeah, boy.
I would say that is maybe the biggest change. And maybe full disclosure, at my age now, brother, I can't do big events. Eh?
Yeah,
You see, anytime I had to walk too far from my car and thing, I done upset. I like to go. I got to tell my wife recently, you see,
yeah,
Queens Hall, anything wrong Normandy and them thing, I good with that.
yeah,
That close to
yeah,
home for
good.
me. I could run right there, run home.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is, when I was coming up and I go in a fete was an event with bands, right?
Mm,
There was
yeah,
no
true.
such thing as a DJ. A DJ, if you're advertising a party with DJ, that was a party.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
was not fete. That was no
Mm,
fete. That was no. So I would be. when we coming up as youth and we go in a fete, if I go there and it's this DJ and that DJ, DJs couldn't really play like that. A DJ, even now, like I went to even the weekend
Yeah,
and they had it's a DJ fete, right?
yeah,
But it's an artist and thing passing through and stuff, right?
yeah,
But even between artists, the DJ was playing real long. That could not
mhm,
happen in PSA and thing, brother. You see, when it's band time,
yeah,
the DJ might play about 4 or 5 songs. Remember them days? 4 5. It's just really
yeah.
for the band to set up or the technical crew to switch
I mean,
over from one band to the next.
that's a good point because back then you can't even remember who the DJ was.
No, no, the DJ wasn't. I mean, the DJ have their role and thing to play, but brother, when
Yeah,
you're going to FET, it is Atlantic, Traffic, Ecstatic, Blue Ventures, Second Image. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that I say for me is the biggest difference, and I miss it,
yeah, yeah,
and I feel sorry for people who don't know it. Now things are cycling, they come back around,
yeah.
but if you never see Bunji Garlin with a band. Part
Mm,
of your life missing, Dread. I don't know if people understand who Bungie really is. I mean, I like to talk. I mean, they have the Rudders and Colin Lucas and them, but I never saw them with bands. I come out after that.
yeah,
The
we came
people
out
who I
after
see with the band would be like Tony Prescott,
that.
Steve Seeley, Anselm Douglas,
Yeah, and
um, yeah, Machel, of course.
yeah,
So they were controlling the band circuit. Russell Cadogan, I think Leon Calder, they might still be there.
hmm,
So you got to think about what it is for me as a young teenager, a man who's now 20,
yeah,
to see that change. So when Bunji Garlin started come PSA, I don't know if you can explain that to people now. Why? That is
yeah, but
that is chaos. Chaos
yeah,
when Bunji come out because the older people don't like him. I remember my grandfather and them used to call him Bunch of Garlic. They used to say this Bunch of
yeah.
Garlic when they listen to him. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean,
Bunch of
I'm
Garlic.
happy that you brought this up, man, because I personally, grew up in Arima. I know Bunji very well, and I remember when Bunji first came out, a lot of fight down, especially with older people, because they say he's singing
People didn't
soca,
like it.
this kind of bad boy image he had. You know what I mean?
The
And
accent, remember that?
yeah, the accent,
They used to fight. They
and
say he talking like a Jamaican, and
right,
but
and then he had
brother,
the dread
we
and all them kind
didn't
of
care. We did. You
thing.
had to understand too the difference. It's funny you say that, right? Arima would have know Bunji and know who he is and know what he is and thing, right?
Yeah, we see the growth.
People had to understand for your listeners before the internet and thing. You know how long it taken a trend from Arima to reach in town. We don't know him.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, country
understand? We
boy.
don't really know him like that.
Mm,
And brother, when that man started come PSA and thing in them yellow suits and I don't know if people understand what the shift was in the
yeah,
culture then because I didn't care. Me I care who he is, me I care where he from. He was just
yeah,
bad.
yeah. It was
And
bad.
seeing him freestyling with DJ and them kind of thing, when you see him with that band, boy, that was a different world. Yes, so they see that might be the biggest difference for me. I think the other
Yeah,
difference is the dress code and them kind of things. I mean, I hear Bungie talking about it with hard fit. And I don't know if them days go come back,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you used to go with fit with what you had on.
yeah,
I don't know that they dress up to go off it. It's
yeah.
just I used to go with jersey. I could have throw it to me and sure to come up with no jersey, but no, we had a dress and
Yeah,
it's a VIP and nice colors and nice decor and to tell you the truth, too, I don't know if I never feel like one is better than the next, really. I like fetting now and I really enjoy fetting back then. I just wish that youths now could experience some of them things
yeah,
because if you never see Machel with a live band, not the Ableton version, not no
yeah,
a bass
yeah,
alone, if you see Machel with a full band, people stop saying anything about Machel and Bungie or KMC. You remember them days too?
man.
Uh,
KFC, the original
I don't know.
mashup man.
People KMC changed the thing when KMC came. It was a huge. I hear people laughing and talking about KMC now. They all the people talking about KMC now wasn't there when KMC was doing what he was doing. They wasn't around. They wasn't present. They wasn't in the fence.
Yeah, there wasn't any Fed. I mean, and once again, man, and I really, really appreciate this conversation that we having because we both in the same space, and one of the reasons why I really got into the podcast space is because there's a lot of stories that I've noticed a lot of people um need to know, and I could tell you've been there too, and I've heard some of these stories, and like guys like KMC. What I do love about, and you mentioned writing. What I do love about KMC is the simplicity of words this brother uses to compose a song. You can see this guy is like
Bad.
the ultimate storyteller, man. If you're
So
laughing,
boy,
you jump in
boy.
with KMC. The man got
It's so
lyrics.
simple. So and it's funny you say that too because simplicity to the point where I don't know if I'm next, and that's why I tell you I can't be no artist because
Yeah,
like going to KMC breakout song, show me a left hand, a left
right.
hand.
Mm,
It's real hard to do that. People don't understand. People look at simplicity of writing as if it means simplistic.
yeah,
But if you
yeah.
could put them few words together and cause the response that you get, and use
Mm,
a genius, that's what Kitchener used to do. That's what
yeah,
Crazy do up to now. Crazy don't
yeah,
put to my line in a, to my word. Bunji is the only Kaisonian I ever see
yeah.
who's put so much lyrics in song and get people to this man say esophagus in a song and vestiges in a song. Them is word is cross out dread. When you write a song and you say esophagus, you say nah, let me go again. But
Yeah, yeah. They can catch that.
yeah, but genius. But so
Yeah,
I wish people could experience both sides. But who knows? You know, the world is a cycle. You know, you never know if you will come back to see bands. And I would love to see young people in a frenzy the way we was in a frenzy for their, not necessarily for the Bunji or the Machel, you know, but for their young artists who doing what Bunji did then
yeah,
and changing it now again. I would love to see that. I would love to be there. I would love to watch them. You know what I mean? That would be special to see.
yeah, man. And Bunji always had that level of confidence, man. I think that's what made through it
Remember
all. He
Soca
always,
Monarch days with Bunji? They need to do a documentary on that, brother. You know? Maybe I
yo,
could do it.
yeah, yeah. You the man fit, man. You the man fit. Yeah, the connection. Yeah, yeah. That was
Maybe I
a
could
big.
do it. Maybe I could do it. I need the right production team and budget, but not enough. I hear people discussing Soca Mount Rushmore, and I just listen and listen and listen, and I don't hear his name, and I think I'm not sure that you could do it without it. You know what I mean?
Well, we're gonna talk about that, man. We're gonna talk about that. I want to talk about, like you mentioned, the Soca Mount Rushmore. And we're gonna talk about
Mhm.
this ridiculous list. That hey, big up the Hoppy and the whole team, But
Oh yeah, yeah.
great,
I was part of that list. Let me full disclosure. I was part of that list this year.
you're part of the list. Well, the
Yeah, they
new list.
called me. They were trying to
Uh,
uh to do a redo on the list.
please, yes,
So
please.
they call us in. They call us, and I think they do it over already. I can't remember what the final version of the list was,
Well, it's
but
nice
yeah,
that
they asked for our inputs, which I appreciated.
well, good. Well, nice that they're doing some proper research because that original list. When I first heard the list, I was kind of like, I wasn't so interested in. I wasn't interested in looking at the list because I'm like, how you come up with 100? That's a lot. And then
Boy,
to find out they put the legend, the originator, the creator, Rashok
yeah,
here on the list. Crazy
yeah,
not
yeah,
on the
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Baron make it on
Well,
the list?
yeah, but yeah, he had one song. I want to say he's feeling it,
Yeah, yeah. Terrible,
if I
terrible.
remember right. But you know, funny you say that too, because when I went there, they recorded the whole thing too. It was on Scotch TV. I was like, I said the only reason I hear is to make sure Shorty on this list, you know.
Right.
But I understood a little more from talking to them and so on why the list was what it was.
Yeah.
And maybe I understand why Shorty, I don't agree with it, but I understand why Shorty wasn't on the list in the first place. Because when they go through the criteria, they had about 8 different categories.
Okay.
When you look at the definition of those categories,
Mm,
he would have never be on the list. And then for me, then you had to watch the criteria. The criteria, if you have a criteria that leaves him off the list, you have to address the criteria. You can't do it with all that. And then
yeah.
they had people like Beaver contributing, Nigel Campbell. They had good people who understood. Like Beaver was there for
Yeah.
times with some of the foundation artists. Beaver on stage when David Rudder was in his heyday. Beaver was able to easily say that the biggest response he's ever seen to any music was Get Something on Wave. And how you
Yeah.
gonna argue with Beaver with that? He's been
Yeah.
around current now still, so you
Yeah.
can't argue that. And in
That's,
fairness to Hoppy and them, they're not arguing those things. They
yeah.
really brought people in to learn and get their perspective. And Hoppy's a man know the culture.
Yeah. Been around.
Yeah, yeah, Hoppy's been around. And he in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, now I know that you're part of it. I'm excited to see the revamped version of this list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's no better than what you would expect before. You ain't gonna be no happier. But I could say, while I agree with somebody, I understand what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Mm.
All right. You mentioned Mount Rushmore. I don't like to use the term Mount Rushmore because it's only four, and I feel
Right.
sometimes it's difficult. So I would say a top five. What's your top five soca artists? Soca. I'll say soca, and then I'll say calypso because
Or
it's
if you
two.
separate them too.
Yeah, you have to separate them because it would be difficult to find five because that means Rashot I have to be let me go first. I'll give my five. Right.
Yeah,
This is
I
my
agree with
five.
you. Shorty had to be on the list for
Shorty
what he
have to be
did
on the list. Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shorty takes some chances. Like even that I talk about on the podcast a lot where there
Mm,
is a difference between Rash Shorty and Lord Shorty.
that's true.
You know what I mean? Lord Shorty was singing some kind of tune. You know what I mean? I hear people talk about Nyla now and how Nyla dressing and thing. I say they forget
Yeah.
what Lord Shorty used to sing. You know what I mean? It wasn't clean.
Yellow, yellow.
It wasn't clean at all. You know what I mean? He changed and the music changed, which I'm an advocate for letting youths go through the changes. Don't condemn them.
Yeah.
Let them do what they have to do now because that's who go advance the society. All we depend on youths all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shorty would definitely be one that's there for me. In terms of if you're getting my Calypsonians, I could leave Rudder out and probably keep Lord Nelson, who
Okay.
was right at the original soca. When you talk to people like Beaver, people like Lou Lions and so on, the story is told that Shorty created as if they didn't have a bunch of people experimenting with sound at the time, and Lord
Right.
Nelson was one of them people. And to me, one of the most versatile artists, not just soca or anything, or calypso,
Right.
just
Yeah.
so versatile. But you have songs that feel like reggae, you have songs that feel like soca, and
Yeah.
all of it is Kaiso to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Machel, for what he was able to do, I don't think you could leave him off a list like that. It's
Sure.
just too impactful.
For sure. For sure.
Uh, of course, I had to put Bunji there. But I don't know that in my lifetime I ever see anybody impact or change a
Yeah.
genre as much as that. And my selfish fifth person as top
Yeah.
five in soca is a man who nobody don't put on the top five list. It's Neil
Yeah.
Iowa George, my favorite soca artist of all time.
You
There's
you you
nobody
like
who could do what
my
Iowa
uncle, man.
do.
You like my uncle.
Was
My
that?
uncle is a big. My uncle is a big Iowa fan,
Boy,
So
I was number one for me, numero uno. Nobody can do what I see I was doing this. In this
yeah.
in fact, especially when it's about fat. I was the
Yeah.
fat god, the fat master.
Yeah.
But
That, that,
that would be a selfish. That's just me being selfish. I think if you have a top five, you really have to put Super Blue on that.
yeah.
Again,
Because I was about to ask you. You
yeah.
can't put Iowa and not put Super.
Yeah, selfishly, I want to include Iowa, but yeah, Super
Yeah.
is a man you had to have. Super just, and the funny thing is like Super. But you talk about Marshall longevity in terms of
Yeah.
what he's able to do. Because I hear now they say Marshall could have the road match this year. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And dominate again this year. Although I feel Bunji have a good something to say about that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Super Blue would have win from 80. He went in the 80s, the 90s, the thousands, the 15s. He just so
Every decade.
consistent with huge hits
Yeah.
every decade, every decade. So that would be my five. Um, top five Calypso boy, that real hard,
Yeah.
I had to put Kitchen and Sparrow.
A must.
But top five Calypso would be real selfish too, because it's I mean like Brigo I want to put in there, but Kitchen and Sparrow definitely had to be 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um uh it's hard for me not to say Crooker to the fourth king he's saying. I mean he's lyrically, like I was telling you about Bunji, how much words he's putting online. Crooker's
Yeah.
another one like that. Crooker writing is crazy. That means the thing
Yeah.
we need to study in literature in school, because me don't know
Mm.
what Crooker is really right and how much words he could fit in a line and fit in a song. Um,
Yeah.
I
Black
would
Stallion.
say yes, Stalin definitely. Yes, Stalin. Good thing you remind me of that. Yes, and leave him out.
A
Yes, Stalin
shadow.
definitely had to be there. Jesus,
Hmm.
this is gonna go up to about 10
Yeah.
because
That
I had to
actually
put in
hit.
Rudder. I leave Rudder
Yeah.
out of Soca, so I had to put him in Calypso.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe Kitchener Sparrow,
Mhm.
Stalin, Rudder. Who am I missing there again? Yeah, Shadow Boy. Jesus.
Yeah,
Shadow had
yeah,
gone to Soca and the Calypso list, my God, yeah. But that was more overlap. Between
yeah.
the two peaks of Calypso and Soca for him at the pinnacle. He might be the best to do any of that. When it comes to Soca or Calypso, I think nobody better than him in either one.
Not to mention, I'm sure you heard the story, and I interviewed Isaac Blackman about this conversation with Shadow and Rashad. Yeah, in the early days when they were saying Shadow might have been the one or was part of the I guess the creation of what we know as Soca today. You heard that argument?
Yeah, Beaver is the man to talk about them things, and people like Martin Raymond. Those are people, I don't know if you had them on yet. You had them on?
No, I haven't got to them yet.
Yeah, brother, get Beaver on. And book real time. Book plenty more time than you feel you need because he'd have been young and in the mix at the time. And just Martin Raymond too, Martin Raymond at UCT. Them first and them have a history that needs to be documented. I will get them on too, but you should get them on as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Beaver is one of the ones who talks about. And I had Kenny Phillips on, and he was talking about it as well because he said when you talk about the creation of soca, we talk about artists, but
yes.
we forget about the producers who
Hmm.
was taking chances and experimenting with his sound. So he goes back to people like Imam Shaw and you know what I mean, Robin Foster. A lot of people who were there when the
Yeah,
sound was because to change the genre, it has to start with the production or the arrangement of the song, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So them men have a wealth of knowledge on that. But yeah, I did hear people say, and Lou was the one who was telling me that I never saw it myself, but he was telling me
Yeah.
that Lord Nelson, he feels a way about the fact that they attribute it to one person. Because when you hear his early music,
Yeah.
I mean, you could hear that taking a chance with funk and disco and fusion of music and the fusion of the East Indian and the African drums. He was doing it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he definitely feels that way. I'm not sure, but I had the opportunity to interview Lord Nelson, and
Nice.
yeah, he did mention that, and he also felt a way also that they used to call him foreigner back in the day,
That's one of
because
my favorite songs.
he lives in the U.S. and every time he go
Yeah.
back, it's a funny story. He probably back then they never really accepted him as
No, he was in the army.
Yeah, he was in the
So he
army and
was a
stuff.
man in the States, something, and he said in his early years he was patterning Sparrow. So that
Yeah,
foreigner song, when you listen to it, it's about reggae. It's such a deliberate piece of writing. It's one of the best pieces of music I feel we have because
yeah,
he writes it and sing it and deliberate. It almost feel like a reggae. It's in such a groove.
yeah.
But he tried to enter the Calypso monarch, and they say, no, you're a foreigner. Only
Right.
locals can enter the thing, which is, they should have a public apology for that before this man
Yeah.
leaves this earth. The
Mm.
government or whoever in charge should say, "Hey, we want to, when they did the Ray Charles thing in Georgia, when they say, boy, sorry for banning you from the South and that kind of thing.
Right, right, right.
We need to do something like that because these men, we can't let them leave feeling aggrieved about every, you know what I mean?
Nah, man,
In
you
your
trust me.
older years, you're supposed to make people feel as comfortable as you could make them feel. So we should do something to let him know that we love and appreciate what he do. He can't go feeling the way he feels, for me.
Nah, I agree because, like I said, I did an interview, I think it was last year, and I was telling the man voice, the man still feeling that way about that,
He
It's in
must.
the
He
heart
must.
telling him.
We played for Shadow once. My father and I, same, it's called Ken Corby and Friends. We have a band acoustic kind of more parang feel. So I play a quattro guitar, we have a box bass and a drummer and a pan
Yeah,
man. And we get to back up Shadow for a show he had for Habitat for Humanity. And Shadow was complaining about the way he treated and the way he's seen, and he's one of his national heroes to me.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
Big fan of Shadow, man.
For sure,
Wow.
for sure, for sure.
I know our time is limited, man. So
Mhm.
so much to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the podcast, man. What made you decide to get into the podcast space?
Ah, boy, COVID too, COVID too. It's
Uh,
something I always wanted to do, to be honest. Like I had a website. Actually, going back to school, when I had gotten
yeah,
accepted to do my master's, I had a website that was doing, I was to follow song clash and them thing, go to all the
yeah.
clash, take pictures, write reviews, and all the songs I was clashing one another and thing.
That's we had
And I
Uber.
used to, yeah, I know, but Umba used to connect me to that world because Umba was living in St. James at the time.
Yeah,
So back then I must be 20, 19, 20, and I can't afford to go all them parties. Umba used to call to get in to cover the party, and he could
yeah,
tell me, well, this promoter, that promoter, or come with me. And And we just had a website. Them days interviews wasn't video and audio and them thing. You sort of go to the party, kind of
Mm-hmm.
make notes on thing,
Mm-hmm.
come back now, type up an article, show some pictures and start to get momentum. So I used to do that back then, and I have interviews with like Doggy Slaughter.
Nice, nice.
Um I'd interview Bounty Killer. That one time Bounty Killer came here and get arrested for cussing
Yeah,
the Savannah. Bounty Killer
yeah,
Elephant
remember?
Man and them, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wait outside the police station the whole night. When they release him in the morning, I beg him for a little interview. You know what's here? Sharon Burke, you know Sharon Burke.
yeah, yeah.
She came and sorted out. It looked like she was the one who come and sort out bail or whatever he had something, and then
Right.
he come out and
Yeah.
I kind of beg me and Future Troubles. Although Future Troubles sleep outside our police station to farm
You
boat.
right?
He was out there the whole night. A bunch of youths, all of we was outside, kind of just hoping to see him come out, and then he do a
Yeah.
quick interview with me. So maybe since back then I was real interested in people's stories and that kind of thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, that's something I always wanted to do in terms of the interviews. But the original form of the podcast was me just talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I would do is take current affairs from week to week and
Mm-hmm.
talk about what's going on in the country.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe during COVID, you're forced to sit down. So whatever creativity you have getting stifled. So you had to do something. And I
Right.
love podcasts generally, Alonso. To be honest with you, I love listening to podcasts. I love to hear people's perspective. I don't miss an
Mm-hmm.
episode of Joe Budden podcast, or I used to watch Breakfast Club all the time, or Drink Champs, or all. I like podcasts generally. Joe
Yes. Yes.
Rogan or whoever. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was like, I could do this because I know how to interview people. I could feel like I could make it a little interesting. And
Yeah.
then I have a unique set of experiences and
Mm.
education. So it's
Yes.
like I could
Yes.
merge some of these things and talk about things from a different perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
also super easygoing. I always looking for the way for me and you to make peace. I don't care how vex you get with me and you good. So don't care how we fall out. I try to find a way to make some kind of peace. And some of that has come through just being a little quick and you know what I mean? Say something funny, everybody laugh, we move on.
Yeah, like,
So I
he's
figured
an
I could have
authentic
done it.
man.
And Mhm,
He's an
mhm.
authentic fella. He's an authentic fella. You know.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's me. I can't be nothing else.
Mm.
I like peace and I like people to get along and everybody cool and nice and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if I get vexed with that cast, it vex for long. It's just my nature. So I felt
Yeah.
like I had a unique opportunity to bring people together, which I think this country missing.
Yeah.
So
Very
to
much
be
so.
honest with you, that day I tell my wife, I said, "Girl, listen, I had to do this thing because you know it is when you want to start something and you stick it."
Yeah.
So I went in town, I went and buy a mixing board. Me know how to use the mixing board. And
Yeah.
coincidentally, when that same time with that particular interview,
Yeah.
I was um I was supposed to be doing my orientation for my master's program that day.
Mm,
And
okay.
I so studying Bounty Killer and interview, I forget I clean and I was doing an audio
Eh?
recording program. But I forget to know. I forget I never went to orientation.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, all right, Corey, I had to get serious. You know, yeah, in this master's program my parents real happy that I in it. I started my master's at Mercy. Then time I must be 23 or 24.
Uh,
And I
wow.
didn't not now when I look back at it, I could see how much of an opportunity it is. But back then, you know, I feel like a big man. I could do that anytime.
Right. Right.
So, but I'd learn a little bit about audio engineering from then. But I figure out some things and I
Mm,
just say, all right, I write down some topics and I say, all right, I could make this funny, I could make this relatable, I could talk about this and that.
right.
And yeah, I just record. I just figure it out and record. That's I must reach about 4 or 5 with all the equipment.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, my first episode take me about 18 hours to record a 1 hour episode, and I started over a thing, and it was crazy. But I promised myself I wasn't going to sleep till I publish it. I didn't know what
Yeah.
to do. I didn't know how to
Right.
record. I didn't know how to publish or ways put a podcast.
Yeah.
And I started that, and then every week I was amazed at the feedback I get. I remember
Yeah.
thinking if I could get about 10, 15 people to listen to this, that would be good.
Right. Right.
And like next day it had a couple hundred people. I was like, all right, well. And
Mm,
people said, you know, it's okay, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
let's keep doing it from there, you know? That's I genuinely like doing it. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Man, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so I've seen the
Shit, man.
progression, like you said, from when you first started to what it
Yeah.
looks like
First when I
now.
first started it was audio only. I must have 50
Yeah.
episodes with audio only. I know also use no camera. I figure
Yeah,
out that
man.
by trial and error. I have a good bit of episodes too where I forget to turn on the lens cap. so people could go back and see that. And when I done, I reach a point where, brother, when I
Yeah,
finish record, I go to my bed. I'm not
yeah.
doing that record over and them kind of things. So even that is like building a muscle, so I could do
Mm.
2 hours in one take. I'm not starting over. I don't have the
That's that.
time. I still had to go to work the next day. I'm a son to see boys like, nah, one take.
It's funny, man, because I'm laughing because we do such a good job. Sometimes we have to stop and give ourselves credit because, like I said, we all in the same space. I mean, big up to you, big up to
Yeah,
KG, big up to other people in the space, right? We really
100%.
do a good job of making it look easy because we've been through the trials and the mistakes and forget to turn the mic on and all kind of craziness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to
So
take a minute to salute you too. I had to take a bite out the time to salute because you've been doing it and you know what it is. It's easier for me to talk to you about these things than anybody else because you know the tribulation, you know how this goes. It's not easy to do. And
not
I watch
easy.
your guest list every time you're like, where, how you getting these people? How you do?
Well,
How you finding people? So
listen, I look at some of your guest list. I'm like, yeah, man. Listen, I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be transparent because, like I said,
mm,
I came from just like you. My mom and dad had from baby a record shop. I grew up in music, right? Then the years of radio interviews, whatever. And I've never looked at people, even as a DJ, as competition. I always look at them as motivation and a way to learn. And with you, I was like, man, I know each week I gotta make sure and call this person. Make sure because I know Corie coming next week and dropping something. So I gotta keep
that's
up.
for sure. That's
Gotta
for
keep
sure.
up.
That's for sure. That's
But
for
I
sure.
mean,
Next week, something coming next week. Something coming next week. But it's the same. When I watch you, I was like, how are you doing that? And you telling me about my knowledge too, but you sit comfortably with people from all different spaces in media in entertainment, Jamaica, Trinidad, all of the islands. It's solid. But I like you.
mm,
Competition to me is supposed to be like sports. It's supposed to be a
yeah,
fun thing.
sports, yeah, sports, fun,
So
fun,
I
yeah,
watch what everybody, I don't miss nothing. I just watch what everybody doing. And it's motivate me because I was like, men coming out, men not stopping. Like you say, KG, them first they do everybody doing good. I want to
yeah,
be better and I want to, but my only way to be better is to be around the best and see the best and see what the best doing. That's what we to me we had to do. And
yeah.
to add to that, while it might be friendly competition and thing, if that anybody by me who you see that you want to bring on, you call me, tell me, oh shit, I tell them, hey, you gotta go on this man thing. That's how I am. I don't really I tell them to gatekeep. We ain't here forever.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not about us, man. Really and truly, it's not about us.
It's
Every time I
not.
do it,
It's not.
I'm thinking about the listener and an opportunity to. This is history, because when I'm dead and gone, people, or even I always tell people also, when you do an interview, you're not doing an interview for me. You're doing an interview for not just your fans, but your family too. Because I notice a lot of times,
100%.
yeah, a lot of times these people sit down and they talk, and their own family never really know the process of things that they went through to get where they are in life.
No. But I'm sure you
So
experienced this too. I had guests who told me that after they came on, it's like, boy, so much people telling me they never knew I did this or they never knew, people
yeah,
close to them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but and you know this too because you do this and you doing it at a high level.
Mm.
Every time I finish an interview, I almost upset. It's like, oh God, I forget to ask this. I should have asked that. I should have asked that. You know what that feeling is like.
It
So
happens.
for
It happens.
me, why I wouldn't send the person and say, well, yo, Zo, do this person now. Because you might have a different angle that I can't cover. And you might
And that,
you might take it different and then we get a broader picture of our personal life. You know what I mean?
yeah, I like how you said that, and that is so true because two people can interview one person and the two totally different interviews,
Yeah.
and it's not a
Yeah.
good or bad, but it's sometimes questioning. Sometimes the other person feels. Sometimes the person at the time I didn't feel like talking. To be honest with you, sometimes they just surface level stuff or whatnot.
Mhm.
And yeah, synergy.
To me, that's
Yeah,
what it's about. That's what it's about. And that could only be good well, for me, for you, for the guests, and for the audience. For me.
yeah. You've interviewed a lot of people on your podcast, legends. I mean, people, community leaders, but one person I have to bring up. We both had opportunity to interview him, and I guess for our generation, he's like, I won't call him a god, but we all look up to him.
Yeah, Dominic Calypso.
You already know the you already know the name. You already
I
know the
know, I
name.
know, I know, I know, I know, I
You already
know.
know the name. Listen, man, talk about the perfect journalist.
Yeah, these boy, listen, it's intimidating, It was. I don't know what your experience was like, but David had kind of David as my production, so it's a David,
Yeah,
and we've been talking about it's one of the ones that you want to have, you want to interview him, you want to, and as far as I know and the research I did, he doesn't want to be interviewed. He don't like doing too much interviews. He don't like talking about
bro,
himself a whole lot,
bro.
and his professionalism is submerged, and you want to be prepared, and you want to be good. So I try to watch everything everybody do before they come by me. So I saw him by you. So I was like, nice. I was so glad you wouldn't believe me, because it's just another. It's like you're trying to research something, and then a platform I already know and are accustomed to your interviewing style, and you know what I mean. You get people to relax, and that's hard to do on Zoom, or on a digital
Bro,
platform for me.
the-
Harder than it
yeah,
would be in person.
yeah, yeah,
But he was talking, he was talkative and things. So I was like, all right. And what I typically do is, like, I will watch interviews that people did before, especially if it's recent.
yep. You have
And I
to.
was like, all right, I'm not going to cover this again. I'm not going to cover that again. But I want him to say this by me. So I'll just ask that question, or I'll mention it so we could go past it fast. I just real
Yeah,
structure this stuff out. But
yeah,
brother, that was special for me. I always remember that. I don't think it's my greatest work, but he's so up to yesterday, I was looking back at that, and he's so comfortable with silence, and I am not. So when I ask him a question, he's take a long time, and he's like,
yeah.
and he
That's
cool
what.
with it. He cool with it, but
Yeah,
super
yeah.
cool. I'm just grateful that he decided to do
Mhm,
it, because he doesn't need it. And
mhm.
but I almost feel like, selfishly, we as a country or as a region need to hear from them some more, especially because I was able to get a little bit of not just his history, which, I
Yeah,
mean, we've seen interviews with him talk about his history, but I wanted to
yeah,
get his perspective on where we are as a country, his perspective on media, how he feels about things, and
yeah,
thankfully he answered. He was very gracious. I must say
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. They're very, very, very. You also did his course. How you still in the course, or the course is over
Boy,
now?
no, what happened was, I didn't realize that he had an advanced course right after
Okay,
the course. So I waiting for the advanced course to come back out. But
okay, okay.
bro, it was real good. I'll tell you something, man. You know this too from doing this.
Mhm.
People might enjoy interviews, and people might watch you, and the breadth of people that you have, but
Yeah,
like, you end up taking away a lot from the person, because you get to talk to the person for a little while more than the audience sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
So being in his class, more than anything he was teaching, it was really an opportunity to just observe
Mm,
the way he would speak, or the way he would carry himself. What was one of the biggest takeaways for him? Like, it's like his time, his professionalism and punctuality. He's there
yeah,
very early, and I scrambling coming in, make you sort of
bro.
change the way you operate, and even the way
Listen,
he would correct you about something
yeah,
you say, or something you could do
yeah,
different. Boy, priceless, priceless. Whenever the advance starts, I'm gonna go back,
yeah.
because it's nerve-wracking. You can imagine having to read a news story, and Dominic in front of the camera, they tell me, hey, nah, do
Mm.
this again, do this again. It's like, that is, but if you could do that, you could do anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel if I could get through that, I'd do anything.
Yeah, man. Dominic Calabasada, that was a big one for me too. Like I said, and a lot of things people don't know. Some of these interview bookings take months. People don't see these things. It take months. you know, it,
Let me give you an example of one you have now before you continue. You know who you had? Ricky Jai.
no, no, no. I didn't know Ricky Jai. You asked me that before. No, I didn't know Ricky
Oh,
Jai.
I
I
thought I
don't.
saw Ricky Jai by you. You talked to
Nah,
him?
nah. I have his contact, but no, we haven't planned anything.
Boy, well, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You saying some of them take months? I can't tell you how long I'm waiting. I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm
Well,
waiting,
listen, listen.
I'm
We just having a conversation. We're gonna put it out in the atmosphere. These people that we
waiting.
love, I'm gonna call another name. I'm sure because we talked about this before for months, months, months. I've been trying to get this guy and so call back this week. Blah, blah, blah. You know the person,
Who's
Ronnie
that boy? I
McIntosh.
can't remember.
Ronnie
Oh,
McIntosh.
no comment.
Listen, Running man, we love you.
Oh,
Oh, come on, running man. Come on,
oh,
man. Come on, man. We just need like
Jesus.
45 minutes. This
Ooh.
brother, this brother is always moving. Always moving, man. Always moving. We love him. Running man.
After I get done, I promise I will tell you the backstory. But what?
Yeah.
Jesus. But Ronnie working hard. The other reason why that's Ronnie busy working hard and them thing. But I agree with you. A story that needs to be a piece of that story even needs to be out there in this world, in this era, in this technology. It needs to be out there. And you
Yeah.
look for Ronnie McIntosh to be the last person since having Daniel. It's like seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope, boy, somebody. I agree with you 100%. Let me put it out there. He will do it. Let me put it out there. Let me be
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah, you put it out there. Put it out there. It's all love, man. All right, Corie, man. I'm going to hold you no longer. So this part of the podcast is called 2,000 Questions About Me. I'm not going to ask you 2,000 questions. It's pretty much a book that I bought a couple of years ago. I'm going to ask you to pick a number from 1 to 2,000, and the number that you pick is going to be the question that's going to be asked out of the book. So give me a number from 1
17,
to
boys. 17, 17.
yeah, that number like it right there in your brain, man.
I was ready. Be ready. We've been ready.
All right, 17. Where would you most like to live? Where would you most like to live?
Oh, whew. Well, that's a good question. I like that question a lot.
Uh,
I would like to, you see that I'm really, really curious. It could be the whole world. No? I'm really, really curious about going back to parts of Africa that I came from. I
mm,
don't know. I don't know the history, and I haven't done the testing, and so I forget what you call it now. Is it DNA or
the
the
genealogy?
ancestry testing and so on? Yeah, the genealogy. That's right.
Yeah.
But I would love to be able to see what life, even today's version of what life is like, where my ancestors would have come from.
Yeah.
Like what they're working on, what kind of music they listen to. If I play with a real man scenario, how they gonna react to that? I'd love to see
Yeah.
that um what that feels like and looks like. But the
Yeah.
truth is, I might feel that way about any of the traditional societies because if I had to choose a place to live, I don't know if I would want to choose it in this era either. I would like to see what India, in its earliest days, or China in its earliest days, the
Wow.
traditional societies, see what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
And apart from me selfishly would love to see what them people doing in the Nordic regions, like how them is get along so well and be so prosperous with the society and so clean, like the Sweden and Norway and them places. But to tell you
Yeah,
the
man.
truth, the only reason I want to live all them places is to see how we could get St. James to be like that. So my answer gonna be St. James as well. I want to go and
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what I have in my homeland and thing and just come back St. James and implement them thing and let we live good again, yes. You know?
Uh, uh, you have you ever been to Africa?
No, I've never been. You
Well,
been?
I'll tell you. Yeah, I've been to Africa before. I'll tell you one thing though. When you go to
Hmm.
Africa, man, there's no way you
Hmm.
can deny we came from there. It's so much. It's so. It's part of Africa. You swear you ain't talking to. You're still
Yeah.
part of Africa. You swear, yeah, because the culture and the food and caucus bag and them kind of thing. You see another thing like normal.
I
You
had to
know.
experience that, but I had to experience that. I had
Yeah,
to experience that. I let my son experience that too. I had to make it where, for me now at 40 some years old, it's a big thing to go back to Africa.
yeah,
He's a teenager now. I want to make it for him where, when you do things when you're young, you feel like that's just normal life. I just
yeah,
want to do it a few times so that he sees that it's normal. It's not this big thing to go back to where we came from. So
yeah.
yeah. I like that question though. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, man. We
A
give
book
thanks,
of
man.
2,000 questions.
Yeah, book of 2,000 questions. I bought it. Well, you've been to the US a couple of times. You know the store.
Yeah.
I'm telling my trade secrets. You know the store.
Yeah,
Five and below or five below.
yeah,
What
yeah,
they
yeah,
call it?
yeah. Get in there.
Yeah,
Nice,
my
nice, nice,
yeah, my
nice.
daughter loved that store. One day I was in there and I saw the book. I was like, you know what? I think I might use this book. It's very chance to be creative.
Nah, yeah, it
Well,
adds to the interviews for sure. It adds. Like, Diary of a CEO, he asks people to leave a question for the next guest.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
so I
good, yeah,
like I like the 2,000 question thing. Is a great addition. Great addition.
for sure, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Corie Sheppard, of course, the Corie Sheppard Podcast, one of the top podcasts in the Caribbean American space. A matter of fact, Corie, I'm gonna give you opportunity to plug your thing the right way. I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, sure. I should leave you to do that. Well, yeah, I think like I say, a big part of what we try to do is really get our stories told. I think as a Caribbean people, we have the benefit sometimes of having grandparents and great grandparents who tell us their stories and take us to spaces that we've earned. So I
Mm,
really just trying to document some of that in a level of quality that, as you said, I know you're doing the same thing. I trying to do it in a level of quality and in an
yeah.
entertaining way so that when I dead and gone, there's
Mm,
something here for these people. So I'm adamant or you know what I mean, determined to get all our Caribbean legends on. And legends to me could be 5 years old or 105 years old. You know, I think we do a lot and we need spaces where we could learn about ourselves. Make sense?
yeah.
So that's really what the podcast is about, you know. That's really what it's about. I want to tell our success stories.
Facts. Mr. Sheppard, thanks so much, man, for taking time out to busy schedule, man. Much love, much success, 2026 and beyond. And I
My
definitely
pleasure.
love
My
and
pleasure.
appreciate the hard work you're putting in, man, and keep pushing. And like I say, it's always a friendly butter.
Oh, yeah, I hear. I ain't going nowhere. So, we here. And thank you, brother, for everything that you're doing too, because I don't feel as if I don't feel the same way. When every time you publish something, I'm like, all right, that's an extra motivation to make sure. Because it's difficult. Let me leave it on that, right? You know how hard it is. It's not easy to keep going. But I'm here for it. And I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing as well. So keep doing it, brother. All the advice you're giving me, let me do it together, you know?
Yes, I. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Corie Sheppard, Corie Sheppard Podcast.
Thank you, sir.